You're not going to work camera? Of course not. Okay, hold on. Let me get my camera working and then I'll start talking. Sorry about this. Having lots of tech problems today. Oh, and my face is huge. There we go. You get to see how the sausage gets made. Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to a slightly different than I have been doing Andy Makes a Friend. Let me intro this. So, today I'm going to be updating some old player races from old editions. I got some books over here I'm going to go through in a second for a DM's Guild product I've been working on. And yeah, so I just put out Timber Gorge. Check it out on the DM's Guild. And that kind of came about spur of the moment. I had run it for an adventure kind of thing, and I ran it for the stream, and it was a crossover that I sort of hadn't anticipated. It came up, like 2 weeks before, and we wanted to do a Halloween episode, and it just kind of happened that I could get a bunch of people to go, and then so I tried to find something that fit where both parties were at. And I decided on a 4th edition Ravenloft, or Domain of Dread, because they weren't widely branded as Ravenloft, that they were all parts of the Shadowfell in 4E. So I decided to update that and, read through. It's from a Dragon Magazine article. Find it in my old Insider, D&D Insider collection, my giant collection of 4E stuff. Which I'll talk about Dungeon and Dragon again in a minute, 'cause boy, I miss them. I went through it, and I updated the Dreadlord Silvermaw stats, the Werewolf Patriarch, and then I kind of created templates for everyone else. And after I did that, I was like, I'm most of the way to a DM's Guild product here. Like, I did the hard part, the kind of stat conversion. I just have to go through the article again, summarize it, draw a map, which was hard, but it also doesn't look very good. So I can't say it was that hard. But I'm going to work on that because I would like to get better at that. So I updated it, and this is such a long story for nothing. After I did that, it had been a while since I created anything for the DM's Guild. The last product I put out was the Dread Domain Keldon, which was a year ago at this point. And I stumbled across a file that I had been working on. I was working on 2 DM's Guild products at the same time last year that I got a little burnt out on because of the holidays and all that stuff. So, just realized for my template, that was for the last thing I was working on. So I got a little burnout. I'm trying not to do that this year, but I got the bug again to work on it. So I found a product I had pretty much completed, that I was calling Races from the Unapproachable East, but I turned out not to like that title. And it was updating 5 races from the Unapproachable East, Thay and Rashamen. And it was done. It was basically done. I had done all of the work. It needed polishing, art, formatting, but all the stat stuff was done. All the written stuff was done. So I looked at that, polished it up, got it to a point in just a couple of days where I was really happy with it. And I was like, I'll just publish this. And then I kind of kept thinking about it. And I just published Timber Gorge. Literally just did it. It's a small product. This would have been a small product. Did I want to do another small product, or did I want to try and do something bigger and maybe incorporate the other project into this, make it a bigger adventurer book, make it have magic items, races, maybe some subclasses. That's it, probably. Yeah, magic items, races, subclasses. Yes. Oh, feats. Feats. They would be all racial feats, but feats. So anyway, I kind of just started thinking about that, and I decided to really expand it and make it a lot bigger. So I've been poking at that. I've done a couple new ones, updated. They're not done. I'm in like a half state for them, but I wanted to do. I've been enjoying it, so I wanted to kind of do it on stream. And I know this has been terribly rambly, but if this ends up being enjoyable, I can do this again because I love working on DM's Guild stuff, and a stream at the same time is always nice. So tonight, I don't know how much of this I will get done before my voice starts to give out, because it'll be a lot of talking. But I've got 2 4th edition players handbooks here, 2 and 3, and some Dragon magazines that have player races in them. Now I would like to. I found a resource today on a website that listed like every D&D player race ever and where they appeared, and it. The Wikipedia article is pretty good too, but it doesn't have Dragon magazine articles in it. I think it's just list of character races in Dungeons and Dragons, and I might have to cross-reference some of these with other books to make sure I'm getting all the right information, to make sure I'm getting a good make sure I'm getting a good overview and it's not just from one source, kind of compile the sources together. I know one of them I'm going to talk about in here. I know they were updated they're from the Dragon Magazine article I have is from 2nd edition, it might even be 1st edition. And no, it's 2nd. And they were updated again in 3.5, and they were wildly different. Just like Shatterkai were wildly different from 3 to 4 to 5. 5 kind of reverts them back to sort of what they were like in 3. But in 4, they were humans. They weren't really elves anymore. So, pardon me, let me take a drink. So yeah, I kind of wanted to go through some things. Honestly, updating races from 4th edition is not very hard. You just have to limit some of the powers and reword some things. Oh, you see, here's another part of this. I made this template real fast. It's been very useful. It's essentially from the adventure template that you can get on the DM's Guild. I use LibreOffice, which you can kind of see. And I just copied and pasted it from there because that has, it's all formatted that way. And this way I can just cut this out, type it up, have the right fonts and stuff, and then I can cut it and paste it into my other document where I format some things, and I've been using a new page background and all that stuff, and I'll do that later, add art. I've been editing some art. So, let's start. Let me do Player's Handbook 2, because it has the race I'm kind of most interested to tackle tonight, and it's got my 4th edition character sheet. It's Welkin. He was Paragon tier. He was level 11. He was an Invoker. Let me tell you about my character. He eventually took a vow of silence. And yeah, all of his stats are crazy bonkers because 4E was weird. AC of 27. For a caster, that's pretty good, right? He had a power called Rain of Blood. And then he mostly was a summoner. I thought summoning was pretty cool. Anyway. He played in my friend's homebrew. Oh boy, I can't even remember what the goddess's name was, but she was like the goddess of the hearth. And he was all about family and calling lightning and angels down on people. I don't remember how quite I played it, but I remember he was supposed to be scary. And he's an NPC in... I don't think he's ever shown up on stream, but he is an NPC in the Indieverse Forgotten Realms. So let's see. So in Player's Handbook 2, the races you could play were Deva, Gnomes, Goliath, Half-Orcs, and Shifters. So, and then the classes were Avengers, Barbarians, Bards, Druids, Invoker, which is why he was in this book, Shaman, Sorcerer, Warden. Some of those are not in 5th edition, notably Shamans and Wardens. Invokers are essentially Divine Soul Sorcerers, and Avengers are now a Paladin. Right, Vengeance Paladin. I think you could probably... Warden... I'm pretty sure we had a Warden in our group, and she was awesome. Yeah, Avengers. They were like Divine Hunters. They were kind of roguey. They were cool. They were like rogue paladins. They used like tinier weapons, and they are Vengeance Paladins from 5e. Like they're very 1-to-1 in a lot of ways. The Oath of Enmity is from 4e. If anyone ever watched Acquisitions Incorporated back when it started, Will Wheaton's character AFL was an Avenger, and I always thought he was pretty cool. There was a lot of shoving powers, and 4e's underrated. It was a good system. So, but I want to talk about Devas right now. I'll go like that. So Devas are sort of like ASMRs. So Devas were immortal spirits who embody virtue, born and reborn to the mortal life again. So they kept getting reincarnated in new bodies, but their soul was like thousands of years old, so they were kind of like Hawkman, to use a very highbrow reference. They were like Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But they're divine souls, sort of angelic divine people in humanoid bodies, so they share some similarities with Aasimars. And I don't know if Aasimars were playable in 4e. There were so many books at various points. But they are different enough that I did want to kind of update them. And I always thought they were pretty rad. So, let's start. And we can let's see. Deva. Not Diva. Deva. I'll add a quote later. Flavory text. Mortal spirits, mortal shells. I'll add this later because I'll read this and see if they appeared in 3 and sort of summarize them. This is where I'll describe physical appearance, history, where they are in the realms, because I don't... Let's see. Don't know if they... I didn't play in the Forgotten Realms, and the generic setting of 4th edition was the Nintir Vale. So this will probably be Nintir Vale specific, but I can update that fairly easily, and I'll check the wiki and stuff, and see if Devas are mentioned in there. Although, is there still a monster called a Deva? Checking my monster manual. 15. There is Yeah. Something else. They're Tabaxi are more than one thing. They're cat people and a Chultan tribe. You should be a Deva bard named Mariah Carey, but add apostrophes in there, Garrett. It'll be more fantasy. All she wants for Tormsmith is your soul. Okay, so in 4E, they got +2 to intelligence and +2 to wisdom. We're not doing that. So we'll do... Oops. Oh. Poop. Let's see. So your... Oops. Your intelligence... You know what now? Your wisdom. There are so few wisdom +2 races. I'm not a total space cadet. I do know that's spelled wrong. Very wrong. My microphone is sort of in the way of my typing. I don't know. I didn't think this through. I normally don't have to type during these. Oh, come on. Pancreas. There we go. Age. Are they crazy old? That would make sense. It would make sense if they were more like human lifespans. It, of course, does not say. Oh. Let me read this. So, deep in the recesses of memory, Devas recall what they once were. Immortal servitors of the gods of good. Spirits who chose to bind themselves to the world of immortal flesh. For millennia, their souls have been reborn to wage an endless war against the forces of darkness. Most Deva are fiercely committed to the cause of good, because they fear what they might become if they turn evil. A Deva whose soul becomes corrupted risks being reborn as a Rakshasa. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go for age. You live roughly as long as humans. And we just read what their alignment's going to be, so Deva are fiercely committed to good. That's exactly the wording there. I don't want to use that. Are staunchly dedicated to good of all kinds. They fear failing their gods and duty and the punishment it brings. Medium. Your walking speed is 1... sorry, that's what I get for reading chat. 30 feet. I almost wrote 1,000, which will be one of their abilities will be memory of 1,000 lifetimes. Okay. Chat is currently creating a Deva bard named Mariah Carey of some kind. Yeah. Me. It's good. Join chat. Okay, they can totally see in the dark, right? No? Weird. Okay. Let's see. Medium. Let's see. Deva are typically tall. Most over most standing over 6 feet tall. Your size is medium. Okay, so this is going to be definitely Memory of 1,000 Lifetimes, because that's a rad name. And they're going to speak Common and Celestials. Let's just do that. Okay. You have resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. That might have to change. But if they don't have a lot of stuff, 2 resistances might be like worth a big thing. Although their wisdom is already kind of bonkers good, and that's probably appeal enough. I mean, this is all beta still, so let's do Memory of 1,000 Lifetimes. So in 4th edition, it was an encounter power because they didn't have spell slots or anything like that. They had at-wills encounters and dailies. Memory of 1,000 Lifetimes, Deva racial power. The dreamlike memories of your previous lives lend insight to aid you. Encounter power, no action. This would be a reaction in 5e. You make an attack roll, a saving throw, a skill check, or an ability check, and you dislike the result. No, thank you. You add 1d6 to the triggering roll. Yeah, I think that's probably... You can probably just essentially use that in 5e. Because it's not... It's essentially a bardic inspiration you can trigger on yourself. So yeah, let's see. Okay. Do Aasimars have both resistances, Timothy? I couldn't remember if they had to take a special, like, it was one of their sub races, or if they had to take a feat for it. But if they have both, then it's fine if these guys have both. Okay. You recall a moment in one of your past lives that resonates with this situation and aids you. I'm going to have to change this wording so it matches up a little bit more with Bardic Inspiration. I can use that as a template, but when you roll an attack, saving throw, or ability check, you may roll an additional d6 after seeing the result. This ability cannot be used again until you have a short or long rest. Okay. So, I think that's good so far. Anything else? They got 2 religions, or two languages. They got common. They didn't even get celestial. They got common and 2 others. I'm going to do... You can read, speak, and write common, celestial, and 1 other language of your choice. That's fitting to me of living 1,000 lifetimes. You learned Orcish in one of them, and you kind of dimly remember it. Okay, so... the other things they have in here, they got skill bonuses, because every race got skill bonuses. So they get +2 history, +2 religion. I might have them trained in the religion skill. That's probably a good call. Astral Majesty, you have +1 bonus to all defenses against attacks made by bloodied creatures. Bloodied is no longer a status in 5e, although it should be because it's just widely useful. It's when the enemy is below half their hit points. There were lots of cool abilities that triggered when people were bloodied. Astral Resistance has that. Immortal Origin, your spirit is native to the Astral Sea, so you are considered an immortal creature for the purposes of effects that relate to creature origin. It's not really a crazy big deal in 5e. I could have them count as Celestials, so they would ping, like, Paladin's Divine Sense. But I don't think that's that important. And that's what they have there. I could... Let me see. I'll look at the feats in the back as well and see if there are any Deva feats back there. Okay. Is this where... I guess bards weren't in the first player's handbook. I played a bard in 4e as well. I played a bard and an invoker. They were brothers. Okay, so let me... There's one... Oh, Devout Soul. Let's call it that. You are trained in the real... no, it's you are proficient in the... religion and history skills. That might have to be capitalized and stuff like that, but I'll make sure this is all up to snuff before I finish the product. I just like getting the ideas down and then formatting it later. However, you are constantly reincarnated, so your soul is ancient, even if your body is not. I guess you can be a tree. Yep. Verdant Lord. Form of Verdant Lord. You can turn into a giant tree with an axe. Because why not? Let's see. Okay, these are backgrounds. I never really used backgrounds in 4E. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. And Timothy mentioned this in chat, and I was also thinking of something like this. The Deva... feat in here is increasing the memory of 1,000 lifetimes power to a D6. I mean, it's from a D6 to a D8. I'm thinking, would it be too broken to, instead of changing it from a D6 to a D8, adding proficiency to the D6? That way it scales with you as you level. It doesn't seem that... You're taking a feat. I don't think that's that broken. You can only use it once a rest. Did they only get one? Oh, no, they got a couple. Okay. Potent Rebirth. Okay. Hold on to these. Heroic Tier. Potent Rebirth. Where are you? Potent Rebirth. When you drop to 0 hit points or fewer, you gain +2 bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls until the end of the encounter. Okay, that's presuming you get back up. I don't particularly care for that. And Radiant Power. When you make an implement attack, which those aren't things anymore, you can take, if you do, you can take a -2 penalty to the attack roll. If you do so and the attack hits, it deals 2 extra radiant damage, and then that scales. Well, It's not bad. I just think that I would structure it so it works like Great Weapon Master or Archery Master. So -5 +10 and do it to a spell attack. That's probably... Ugh. You'd have to make it limited. You couldn't do it all the time. But that might be okay. Although that might be a better just general feat. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Their Paragon tier feat was if the roll failed after Memory of 1,000 Lifetimes, if it's still missed, you could use the encounter power again. So for this, it would just be, it doesn't count against you unless it succeeds, and you can use it again. That's pretty cool. And then the other one is... if you take necrotic or radiant damage, you get a better attack. That's kind of cool. Man, can I have like 3 Deva feats? And then Transcendent Lineage, which is the epic tier feat, is rolled twice for Memory of 1,000 Lifetimes, which is good. I don't know if that's an epic tier feat, but you did take feats every 2 levels in 4th edition, and there are a crap ton more of them. But that's still not great for a D6. If you increase it to a D8, that's okay. But epic, yeah, 21st level, you're taking that feat? Like, that doesn't sound great to me. Okay, I think I'm going to put down 2 feats. 2 feats. Both my feet. Okay, I'm going to put down 2 feats. So, did I not? Well, phooey. Okay, hold on a second. File. Hold on. Okay. Hold, please. Where the heck? Here we go. I have racial feats in here, so let me... Oh, did I open an old one that doesn't have racial feats in it? I did! Awesome. Okay. What the heck is that from? Yeah, is it not? Sorry. There we go. Preview one of these feats. Close you. Open you back up. Feat name. Race name. So the first one is add proficiency to D6 rolled for memory of 1,000 lifetimes. +1 whiz or int. Oops. Okay, and like I said, I'll fix these I'll fix the wording of these up later because I don't know, especially for the feats. I don't know if that's what they're going to be called. What was it called in 40? It was auspicious lineage. I don't love that name, but I'll keep it for now. Oh, that's a good idea, Timothy. Adding the if the roll fails, you may use it again before a short rest. Again, I'll have to clean that wording up, but yeah, that's not bad. But to yeah. To answer Garrett's question, yeah, skill challenges in 4E were a big deal. So essentially, it gamified travel and role playing scenarios essentially, where you had to get so many successful checks before so many failed checks in order to succeed the travel or role playing encounter. So it might be okay, you have to convince this bartender to let you stay the night for free, and there are certain triggers, and if you fail too much and you can't necessarily reroll things again, that's a bad example, but escaping through a collapsing tunnel or something might be a skill challenge. Okay, and then the other one was boiling blood. That's terrible. Radiant blood, but better. That'll have a better name. When you take necrotic or radiant damage, +1 Okay, I'm definitely going to have to reword this. But essentially, I want it to be... sorry, I keep covering my mouth. Essentially, I want it to be absorb elements, but for necrotic and radiant damage, because they had that power. So they take your necrotic or radiant damage, they half it, and then their next spell attack, they deal extra necrotic or radiant damage based on the triggering type. So I'll reword that so it matches. But I think that's good. They have a good stat bonus. They're one of the few races that get +2 whiz. Speed's fine. They have 2 resistances. They get some skills. They have 3 languages. And they have a pretty good racial power. I am happy with them for now. So I'm going to save. I gotta save it as. So let me save as. Oh, have a good night, Garrett. Thank you for joining. Deva. Okay. And file. Recent. Race templates. Okay, oh, and let me... Oops. How did that happen? Hold on a second. Just having all kinds of problems today. Okay. Now let me copy and paste the feet. Oh, I know why. It's because it followed this guy. Probably. Paste. Feet name. Prerequisite. Race. Text. Okay, I'm going to save this. Save. How long did that take? That took 42 minutes. Okay. Going to get less of these done than I thought. That's fine. So that was the one I want to do in here. The other race that was playable in here that we don't technically have yet are, I think they were shifters, but they'll be in the Eberron book. So I don't feel the need to update them. These guys back, and then I will let chat vote on the next one. So what do you guys want to see? Do you want to see Shardminds? Let's not do those. Shardminds. Uldra, which are like frost gnomes, or glimmer folk, which are people from the plane of radiance. Look at that. Oh, well, I don't have that book in front of me, Timothy. Sorry. They will probably be in the book, however. I just don't have... I'll have to dig through all my old 4E stuff. I only have a couple 4E things up here, but I'm going to try and do a lot of races in here. But I can do... okay. So we get a vote for Uldra and a vote for Shardminds. So sorry, Glimmerfolk. You bunch of weirdos, you'll have to wait. So put you there. So let me Let me do Uldra first, because I think I can just make them a gnome subrace, and that will take less time. So hold on, let me pull up D&D Beyond real fast. And then I will... I did Satyrs already, Timothy. They're just not on... I didn't do them on stream, but they will be in the book. I think I did Satyrs. I did Dryads. Oh, no. Satyrs are the one book from... The one race from Heroes of the Feywild I haven't done yet. I did Dryads, or Hamadryads, or whatever they're called, and Pixies. And Satyrs will be next. Let me pull up D&D Beyond. Yeah, I plan on going through, because there's a lot of stuff from 4E that hasn't been updated. And a lot of those races are cool, and like I said, they're pretty easy to update. There's lots of great ideas in there, and I played a lot of 4E. I have a lot of 4E books. I might as well update them. So let's see, gnomes. Although I remember in 4E, pixies were weird because they were so small and they could fly, and flying in 4E was better than flying in 5E. And people don't like it now. I think it's fine. Here we go. Gnomes race. Okay, so gnome traits. Gnomes get... Really? Oh, wait. Gnome traits. Intelligence increases by 2. They live a long time. Speed 25. Dark vision. Gnome cunning. So that's what they get basic. And forest gnomes get an increase of dex, minor illusion, and they can speak with small animals. Rock gnomes get con. They know history and they can tinker. Okay. So they get pretty little things with the subrace. I just turned to this page. It's a giant capybara. I'll have to update that. And these things, which are... Where am I going? There we go. Horse dog people. I don't know. Okay, Uldra. Okay. Gently pull off the Post-it note. There's a lot about them in here. Okay. Player character information. Okay, so in this, they get +1 Dex and Con, +1 Charisma, and Comeliness, because that was a stat. And then a bunch of stuff that has no bearing anymore. Okay, so they're good miners. They know about plants. Stats, skills were weird in old editions. Okay. Yeah, Timothy's talking about the vampire class in 4E in chat, and we had somebody in our 4E group who played a vampire, and yeah, they were that person was very interested in the I'll just call them a min-maxer. They were a min-maxer, and they talked a lot about how 4E's math was weird for several source books until they figured out how to fix it. So people in older source books weren't as efficient as the Essentials or like Heroes of the Shadow, Heroes of the Feywild, Heroes of the Elemental Chaos. It was look, it was not a perfect system, but it was cool. Okay, so they don't need any of this stuff. Or you. I might give them increased dark vision. So gnomes get... So I'm going to have their dex score increased by 1. Or no, con score. I think that's more hardy ice. Let's see. Cold resistance. Cold-blooded. Resistance to cold damage. Don't need you. Okay, so yeah, so let's see. Gifted Scribe. What are... that might be for Eberron. I was like, what are scribing gnomes? Okay. So, rock gnomes get a con score bump. They know a lot about history checks related to magical items and stuff like that, and they can tinker. And these guys seem like they're kind of halfway between forest and rock gnomes. So I'm going to give them resistance to cold damage, which is... I might change to the Goliath feature that's just the resistance to cold weather. Because it's not magical damage. Yeah. Man, I can't type tonight. Too cold conditions. DMG. Jack 5. Like I said, I will fix that later. So, and then... So forest gnomes can convey rudimentary ideas to plants and animals. I think I'm going to give them this trait that says they can rudimentally identify plants and animals. So they know what they are. You may identify natural and mundane plants and animals if you have 1 minute to observe them. You may also tell if water is fresh. Now, that means a different thing. Is drinkable. I will, like I said, reword that, but Uldra. Plant and I want to call him like Cub Scout, but that's a step too far. Okay, let's see. I think I read in 3.5 they did change. They became like more like elves. I was gonna say fairies. That's not right. Well, they became fae folk. I think they became more like halfling elves, which are kind of what gnomes are, sort of. Okay. Let's see. Feats. Uldras magic. Uldra gnome. Or gnome. Uldra. Okay. Let me get back to D&D Beyond real fast. It's D&D. It's D&D Beyond. Oh, right. I don't have that book in D&D Beyond. It's Xanathar's Guide. Okay, so gnomes can fade away. That's their deal. They also had squat nimbleness. Really? Rock and forest gnomes didn't have a separate feat? Huh. That means they already get the benefit of one pretty good feat. Oh, we did want a feat for every race and sub-race. Okay. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Soup, for subscribing on Twitch. Okay. Cast locate animals or plants. Okay, I think that fits well with this ability, is giving them some magic powers that let them find and purify. It's kind of the magical, like better. It's the better version. It's the improvement of those without. Oops. Without spending spell slots once per rest. Like I said, I'll fix that up later, but I like that. I think that's good. And I'll have a lot to write up in here about the Uldra, because there's a whole thing on all their gods. They've got like 1, 3, 4. Yeah, they've got 4 different gods. Gods of the Uldras. Deity, Oslok. Sphere of control, Uldras. Head, conical hat. They all have conical hats. Why do we need to know what the head slot of these gods are? Oh, 2nd edition. He's pretty cool, though. The main guy. Oslok. The wise one. He was like a big antler as a wand or a mace or something. And apparently he beat up Grumsh Forced Crunch to retreat once. So that's kind of rad. And he has a pet elk. I love elk. Okay, so that's Uldras. File. Save as. Uldra. Okay, file. Is that really? Is that not going to work? Am I going to have to change it every time I want to do that? Okay, hold on. No, okay, I'll just reload it. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I did it. I don't know how, but I did it. I'll do Shardminds. That's what I said I was going to do. Shardminds. I'll be honest. I hate Shardminds. Sorry, Soup. I don't like them. I never cared for them. I always thought they were weird. And they kind of didn't fit. But I'm going to try and make them fit. I'm going to try and make me like them. The same player who played a vampire eventually ended up playing a Shardmind. That guy had 3 different characters. Well, okay, he had 2 characters. But one of the characters changed race and class halfway through the adventure. So they were a vampire. And then they became a revenant thief of the Raven Queen. And then that character left, and they became a Shardmind warlock. They were weird. Interesting, but weird. And they actually, their version of Shardminds I did not dislike too much. They're just weird. Soup, look at them. Why does the rock crystal lady have boobs? It's fine. It's not fine. Okay. So let's do intelligence +2 and wisdom +1. Well, at least you're not trying to defend the boobs. Medium. That's easy. 30 feet. I'm sure in 5th edition, the Shard Crystal people would not have boobs anymore. They finally got rid of lizard people boobs in general. Let's see. They don't have dark vision, so I can delete that. Common and deep speech. Ooh, they get racial telepathy, but that is a precedent because Ghostwise Halfling have racial telepathy. What the hell? Oh, whoops. Telepathy. Telepathy up to 30 feet, let's say. Weird. No, sorry. Resistance to psychic damage. man. So they got living construct, which means they didn't have to eat, breathe, drink, or sleep, and they never starved, thirsted, or suffocated. They were considered immortals. They were considered constructs, and they had the shard swarm power, where they could teleport half their speed, so 3 squares, so 15 feet, and each target grants combat advantage to you till the end of your next turn. I'm trying to remember. I think combat advantage was +2. And if they're granting it to you, you had +2 against them, I'm pretty sure. Whew, that's a pretty good power. Let me think. To answer your question, Timothy, I probably will not do an Illithid player race. I do plan on doing some like traditional monster player, like Bullywugs, Kotoa, but I think to me Mind Flayers are bad guys. Like, they are too alien, too weird to be, and too sort of inherently evil to be player characters. Unless you're playing an evil, but they don't click with me as player character races. They are monster races. I will look at what they did in old editions, because I think they were playable in one edition. I'm sure they were playable in third or maybe even fourth, but I don't think I will do them. I'm gonna go through, and there's like, looking through the big list of player races I found, there's a lot of overlap between them. Like, someone was not communicating that we already had a dragon person race, or we already had a bird people race. There's like 4 bird people races, and they're all functionally the same. There's so many bug races, and they're all a little different. Or, there's a bunch of lizard folk or snake people, and they're all sort of different, but it's like, are these different enough from Wanty to really, or lizard folk to warrant something? Maybe. I'll look at them. I saw a bird person. It was like Raptor Kin or something like that. I was like, I'm not updating these. Aarakocra are perfectly fine. Yeah. Although I was thinking of how do you add, how would the best way to phrase it be to add a sub race for a race that doesn't have sub races? So Goliaths, I think you just have to have, these features are removed, these features are added. It seems clunky to me, but yeah. Okay. Shard Swarm. Yeah, I don't think I want to. Okay. I wonder if Thunder. What book's Thunder Step in? You teleport to immediately after you disappear on each creature. Oh, it's a 3rd level spell, so they're not getting that. But something like Thunderstep would probably be a pretty good template. Okay. Let's look at where are the feats? Here we go. Something I don't miss was their weird multi-classing rules of 4th edition. Hybrid characters were weird. You could take feats that like sort of allowed you to multi-class. I never cared for it. Let's see. Shardminds, cleanse the badness, +2 against aberrant creatures, meh. Psychic focus, better damage on psychic powers, that's fine. +2 defense when you use Shard Swarm, that might be nice. That might be good. Paragon. Increase the range of your telepathy, that would be nice. Healing fragments when you spend a healing surge, which was like they're like hit dice, but you could use them in combat in 4E. Some people heal in addition to your you healing. That's kind of cool. Ew, phone's dying. Oh, the Shatterkai do have an ability that when they teleport, something happens. That's probably a good thing to look at. The Eladrin from Mordenkainen's do as well. Let's see. None of these are particularly... Oh, that's weird. Telepathic sustenance. Allies in telepathy range don't need to breathe. No, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. That doesn't make any sense, and I hate it. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Wow. I was fully writing these, and then I really, really stopped doing that. So I will fix all these in a moment. Because this is basically nothing. But, okay, so for Shardminds, intelligence score increases by 2, wisdom by 1. I'll fill in age and alignment. Size medium. There's a little chart that tells me how tall they are in here. Speed 30 feet. Telepathy up to 30 feet. Resistance to psychic damage. They don't need to eat, breathe, or drink. The Shard Swarm, they stomp their foot. Enemies that were adjacent to them will grant advantage, and they get to teleport 15 feet away. They can do it once per long rest, and they can read, speak, and write Common and Deep. The feat I have right now is Improved Telepath, +1 Wiz or Int, and their telepathy range increases to 60 feet. That doesn't feel great, but it feels okay. The other thing, I could increase their teleport range. That might be better. I'll think about that. Okay. I think that's good for tonight. I'm starting to get a little... throat's starting to hurt a little bit. So I might be done talking. But, so we did Devas, Uldras, and Shardminds. 3 races updated. Isn't too bad. I'm going to go over this once again. Probably clean up some stuff after I log off. But you don't need to see me doing that. And like I said, my voice is starting to go. So, yes. I hope this was moderately enjoyable to mostly enjoyable. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do some of these solo stream things, just trying different stuff. Trying to do fun, different things. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Andy Hatton. Check out our YouTube and Twitch pages for a bunch of awesome videos. This week on Twitch on Wednesday, the Star Chasers, our normal Spelljammer group, are in the Shadowfell visiting the Raven Queen. Next week is maybe Twilight Trails, working on that, and we'll figure that out. And check out my products on the DMs Guild if you thought any of this was intelligible or good. I have 3 on there now. 2 of them are free. Well, one's free, one's pay what you want, and one's $1. Thank Torment Storms Day is a silly fun menu. Domain of Dread Keldon is my original Christmas Carol inspired Domain of Dread. And Timber Gorge is updated from 4th edition, where a mad treant must fight a bunch of werewolves. It's fun and weird and cool. And yeah. That's it. Have a great night, everybody, and thank you for everyone who hung out and chat. Bye.